Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here at Philadelphia Jazz Blog. This evening we're going to be talking with Miss Nina Bundy, a Philadelphian who's got some history in music and jazz, and we're going to share some stuff that you probably don't know, but at the end of this interview you want to know even more about. So good evening, Nina. How are you?
Good evening, Lorenzo. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm very excited about being here in your home and interviewing you for Philly Jazz Blog, because I bet a lot of people don't really know much about your musical background, and this is an opportunity for them to learn. So why don't you start by telling them how you got started in the music?
I got started in music at 14, listening to my mother, who was a blues singer.
Okay.
And she caught me practicing in the mirror. She said, "Oh, baby, is that what you want to do?" And I said, "Yes." So she started training me. But if I didn't do it right, Mommy closed the doors and call me when you get it right.
So obviously practice makes perfect,
Yes.
because you've accomplished a lot in the music business. And tell me what some of your early successes were.
Well, at the age of 17, I worked for Tiny Bradshaw in a 16-piece band.
So you started out with a big band, which is
Yes.
difficult.
Yes, because I asked them to put the lights out so I could sing.
So you sang in
So
the
I was
dark club?
afraid. I had to sing in the dark.
Now there's a story for you.
And they still wanted me to travel with them. My mom said, "No, she's too young. She can't go."
Right. Had you completed high school at that time?
I was in my last year of
In
high
your last
school.
year. And by the way, what school was that at?
Overbrook High.
Okay, so I know we got some Brook people out there. You might even remember going to class with Nina Bundy.
Yep, and Will Chamberlain was in my classroom.
Fantastic. After Peps, what kind of things did you do? Did you travel? Did you go on the road?
Yeah, I went to the Round Table in New York.
Okay.
Um, the Comedy Club in Baltimore.
All right.
Concert by the Sea in California.
Okay. What about international stuff? Have you done some?
Japan.
Okay.
I went to Japan for 3 years, twice a year.
They really liked you.
Oh, they loved me there. That travel was so long.
I
13 and a
understand.
half hours going.
Yeah. However, I understand the reception in a lot of other countries beside America for jazz is much higher than it is here. So
Oh, much.
you were
The
well
people in
received.
Japan just love jazz.
Okay.
They love it.
All right. In case people in Japan are watching this, because you know this is on the internet, and some of them say, "I remember her," and they want to get your CD or find out more about how to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Well, they can go on the internet.
On the internet?
Yes.
Okay. And your CD is listed with CD Baby, I understand?
Yes.
And in Philadelphia at Tower Records and at Blockbuster.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And AKA.
And AKA Record Store.
Mm-hmm.
And where is that located?
2nd Street, right off from Market.
Okay, folks, I don't hear you, but you should be running out the door to go to those places and buy Nina Bundy's new CD. It's her first CD, by the way, and it's called Simply Natural. Who's on that CD with you? Who's accompanying you?
The late Eddie Green.
Oh, man, my man, Eddie Green.
Joe Curry.
Okay, Joe Kearney, the bassist, yes.
Bass player. And Kenny Yates.
Good piano.
As Eddie died, we were short of 2 songs, so I
Okay.
got Kenny Yates to do the last 2.
Okay.
And Mickey Roker on
The
drums.
legendary
Who's
Mickey.
been my friend since I was 17 years old.
Right, Mickey is a
We
whole
go way
nother
back.
story. We don't want to start because we'll be in stitches laughing, first of
Exactly.
all. So let's stick with the focus of talking about you, Nina, and how your life has come. And I know you mentioned to me that you had twins, and that kind of changed the course of your career.
Yeah,
Why
I
don't you
had
share
twin
that?
boys, and their dad died when they were 3 years old.
Okay.
So I gave up because I was going back to singing. But when my husband passed, I chose to stay with my children.
Just
It
understand.
wasn't about me, it was about them
It's
at the
about
time.
them, right? And now that they're older and self-sufficient right now, you're making another attempt to rejoin the
Another attempt,
mainstream.
Don't know how far it's gonna go, but I'm gonna follow it.
Well,
Oh,
I've had the
okay.
pleasure of listening to your new CD, and based on that, you should have another one coming soon
Mhm.
because that's fantastic and it needs more airtime. So, any of the radio stations out there, if you don't have a copy of Nina Bundy's Simply Natural, you need to stop what you're doing and find out where you can get one because your audience will simply love her once you play it, and your phones will light up like you were giving away money.
Yeah, well, it did the other night, the other
Right,
week
yeah,
when I
because you
was on
did.
the air.
Right, you interviewed on RTI talking about Women's History
WRTI.
Month,
Mm-hmm.
and they played some of your music, and the
That
phones
How
lit
Deep
up.
is the Ocean and Every Time We Say Goodbye was dedicated to my mother.
Okay, fantastic.
They were her favorites.
Right. Why don't you share with the audience some of the other people you've played with over your career?
Oh, Frankie DePress, Bobby Dorham, Charlie Erlin,
Okay,
Don Wilson, Eddie Green, Lee Smith,
fantastic.
Arthur Prasad. I did a concert in Atlantic City with oh God, I can't think of anybody's
That's all right.
name.
You've done so many things. Sometimes it's hard.
Zanzibar Blue.
Right. Okay.
I worked. Larry Young, organ player.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me some of your other Philadelphia jazz stories. Since we're Philadelphia Jazz Blog, what other clubs did you play in Philly beside Peps?
Showboat.
Okay.
Underground.
Oh, right.
Um. Oh, I get blanked.
That's all right. Well, I know recently you've performed at La Rose
Yes.
and I believe at Ortlieb's recently.
Yes.
Right, right.
I have standing room only every time I appear at Ortlieb's.
And then your album should be selling off the hook because once those people hear it, once that hook is in their ear, they should be dragged to a record store buying your
when
CD.
we're at the club, the CDs go like hotcakes.
Okay, so folks, keep a lookout for Nina at some of the local establishments she frequents here in Philadelphia, and treat yourself to some good sounds and maybe a nice evening out too at one of these fine establishments.
I'd like to also add that I was introduced to Dinah Washington.
Personally introduced to Dinah
Personally
Washington.
introduced.
Okay.
She asked me to do a song for her, and I performed. I was so nervous
Where
when I
was this?
performed at Peps.
At Peps. Okay.
Del Shields introduced me to her,
All right.
and she was so overwhelmed. She says, "I want you to go on the road with me."
Were you able to do that?
I was preparing myself, and sadly, she died a month before I was to meet with her in New York.
Wow. So your career took another turn, as life does.
Another turn,
You can't count them till they're independent with the door locked.
No, sure can't.
So, what other points of interest in your career would you like to share that may help people know you better or know more about your music? Who were some of the people that you liked coming up?
Dinah Washington.
Did you like Ella?
Oh, definitely Ella. Yeah.
Okay.
How could I forget her?
Right. What about Sarah Vaughan?
Sarah
Vaughan,
Vaughan.
L.
There's another name I can't think of.
Well, you mentioned Miss Anderson a little while ago that you had some experience with Ernestine Anderson.
You know, she taken ill when she was supposed to be at Peps.
Oh, okay.
And they called me to take her place.
All right.
And also Nina Simone.
Right.
And they thought she had infantile paralysis.
Okay. You know, you shared a funny story with me about your manager, Leon Fisher. Share that with the audience.
Well, Charlie Earl introduced me to him, and he says, "You want to hear a girl with a great voice?" He said, "I'll call up on the next set." I said, "Okay." Because they were playing pool during the intermission.
Okay.
And when he called me up, and the people were applauding, and they were standing up, and when I got down, I thought he was having a heart attack. His clothes were soaking wet. He was breathing so hard you could see his heart beating through his clothes.
You put him through his
God,
paces.
where did the kid come from?
Okay. Well, I think, Charlie, if you see this, you may get that feeling again. I understand he's still around, and there's a possibility he may see this.
No, he passed.
No, he did.
Yes, he
Oh,
passed.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
In fact, he passed 6 days after my mother passed.
Oh, okay. Well, In either case, it was a good experience,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you were able to share that, and I'm
I
sure
thank
our
him
audience
so
can
much.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are there some other important people in the music business that were in your background that you'd like to share?
Herman Foster.
Okay.
Earl May.
Okay. I think you mentioned Bobby Durham some time
Bobby
ago
Durham,
too.
yeah.
Right? Are these people you went on the road with, or you just played
Yeah, I
with
was on
them?
the road with Bobby, and with I did 2 jobs with Herman Foster and Earl May, and they were trying to get me to come and join them,
Okay.
but I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready.
No.
Well, you're ready now. So for those band leaders out there or pianists that are looking for the maximum accompaniment by voice,
Especially a pianist.
a pianist would be like a Christmas present
That's
to you.
right.
So all you pianists out there, particularly you Philadelphia pianists, if you haven't had a chance to accompany Nina Bundy, you can get a new notch on your resume if you contact her at her email, which is scottnina, that's SCOTTNINA at AOL.com. And in between, go out and buy her CD and start to listen to how wonderful her voice sounds, and then decide whether.
Won't be disappointed.
No, they certainly will not. I've heard it, and in every instance that I've heard people talk about you, Nina, I've heard nothing but good. So,
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck with your new attempt to share your talent before you get your call, as we all do. And I think if people go out and listen to your music, not only are they going to hear a fine vocalist who knows her stuff with music, but probably end up having a good time because she only goes to nice places to perform. So you'll get a good meal and good entertainment. And I suggest you do that soon, because you know, as it goes, you know, you never know. So get out, hear Nina, buy her CD, support the music, and check back in with Philadelphia Jazz Blog on a regular basis, because I'm going to try to keep you updated with what's happening here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm going to do the Firehouse.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Right. For the audience, if you don't know, another diva in Philadelphia and producer, Denise King, sponsors a series of jazz during the summer. It's every Friday at 50th in Baltimore. It's called the Firehouse Jazz Series. And on one of those shows this summer, you'll be seeing and hearing Miss Nina Bundy. And if you check in with Denise King's website, you'll see the schedule for the whole thing. In addition, I understand that you might be doing an event coming up real soon in April called Songstresses Celebrating Sisterhood.
Yes.
Okay, and that's Val Ray's show, and it's going to be at the Clef Club this year.
Yes.
April 8th. Nina, among some other divas, is going to be performing for you, but we're only going to talk about Nina today because this is Nina's 15 minutes here. And so therefore, you got to guess or come see, but Nina will be there, and even if only Nina was there, it'd be worth your money.
Well, thank you very much.
It's the truth as much as I can see it. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Nina, with our listening audience about your past, where you're going with your music, or what you're looking for, or do we just stop here and then tell them to tune in for your next interview after your next CD comes out?
Right, correct.
All right.
After my next CD.
All right, folks. Then thank you for joining in. Tune back in to Philly Jazz Blog whenever you can and try to get your finger on the pulse of jazz in Philadelphia. Good night.